My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
All right, here to give us his take on the news, whether it involves plane crashes, asteroids, or the train wreck that is Washington, D.C. We have nationally syndicated radio talk show host Brian Kilmeade, also a New York Times bestselling author, and the host of not one, but two highly rated shows on the Fox News Channel. Brian, great to talk with you. Thanks for joining me.
What's going on, Frank?
What's the story with this plane crash? Are you hearing anything new beyond what we're seeing?
Not really. I mean, we just know that the figure skaters are on it, including a Russian champion. The U.S. figure skating community has spoken out. They said they're saddened by what's happened on the American Flight 530-42, which collided with that helicopter. They're dealing with families right now. As I said, the Russians had a couple of their elite skaters on there. So we'll see what happens. I thought it was just noteworthy. Congressman Moran helped lobby to get that flight from Wichita. He says, it's a busy runway. We could told American Airlines we could fill it up on a regular basis. And if the reports are correct, that whole route started only a year ago. But I can't see that being the issue because you have a Black Hawk helicopter in the area. What was it doing in the area? Is that typical? We see brand new secretaries like Pete Hegseth speaking out, Sean Duffy, Transportation, speaking out, Kristi Noem speaking out. So they got their job. They're within 48 hours. They're in the middle of a crisis. Fascinating to see. And we still want to get to the bottom of it. I don't know if I'm going to be spending the whole show on all this at this point because, you have 3 on the Black Hawk, 60. Including 2 pilots and 2 flight attendants on the American Airlines jet. They just want to get to the bottom of it. Also, it's just becoming clear how busy this airport is, and there seems to be a concern, can we keep up with this level of traffic?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I think a lot of people are concerned about. You alluded to some of the Trump cabinet nominees. This is an interesting week in terms of the Trump cabinet nominees. You had RFK Jr. yesterday. You have Tulsi Gabbard today. What did you think of the RFK hearing yesterday?
Electric. A lot of times people think he's nervous, but that just is his voice, and he's got to wind it up and it spasms, so you don't really have control of it. For you and I, for anybody, it's a nightmare. But for you and I who do this every day, I couldn't imagine it. And it must be tough because you got these guys attacking you, not really interested in your answers. I'm thinking about Senator Bennett. You think about Elizabeth Warren. I didn't really have a problem with Sanders. I thought he said some nice things and then told me about his concerns. But to me, I thought the exchange I'm going to bring back today is when Ron Johnson just asked him, why do you want this? And he simply said that he's written 6 books on it, spent the last 20 years on it. He said he's praised every night that he would be in a position to help fix America's health. And he thinks it could be done through food, through not just accepting studies, making sure those studies are accurate before we let studies go in, and whether you're getting vaccinated or you're getting some type of therapeutic. Let's reevaluate everything to make sure everything's up to date and there's not some lobbyist jamming some pharmaceutical down our throat, that 70% of our kids have some type of illness that never used to happen before. I thought those are the things I think people care about. That's the reason why he became a rock star. And that's the reason why Casey and Kelly Means wrote the book Good Energy, and it's been just a staple on the bestseller list. It just talks about what's going on in the medical industry that makes these peanut allergies come out of nowhere and commonplace. What happened with these? We never used to have anything except the birth control pill be something that people took on a regular basis until the 1970s. What is the reason for this? So people care about that, and no one cares about Democrats or Republicans. That's why he's perfect. And I'm not worried about the organizational element of the 90,000 workers here. And I think that there's going to be people underneath them that can do that. But I think that at this point that he's going to be a fascinating person if he could get this job. But for people worried about the confirmation, all eyes on Senator Cassidy. He's the doctor. He already voted to impeach Trump second time. He's on Trump's bad list. Does he care? Does he want to stay there? Or does he want to show that he wants to work with him over the next 4 years? And will he give him a chance? Will he give him a chance?
How does PwC take your company to the leading edge? They bring the sharpest minds in tech to your team so you can bring the ideas that will transform your business. They're passionate about your industry so you can walk into any room with every advantage. And they're with you every step of the way so you can know you're headed in the right direction. PwC builds for what's next so you can get there now. Get started at pwc.com/us/leading edge. This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
This episode is brought to you by Cadillac. When you have 4 new tires, every drive feels fresh. Right now, buy 3 select tires and get 1 for just $1 during the Cadillac Certified Service Fresh Start Tire event. Visit Cadillac.com/service offers or see dealer for full details. At participating U.S. GM dealers only. Highest or equal value tire will be $1. Offer ends 5/31/2025. Not available with other offers.
Anyone can follow. It takes something special to be an original. Which is why the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV arrives with new ways of surrounding you in luxury, including the ultra-wide 48-inch panoramic display and the multi-sensory Lincoln Rejuvenate experience. A true original never stops evolving. So meet the 2025 Navigator, the original that's all new and better than ever. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Lincoln and Navigator are trademarks of Ford or its affiliates.
So your best guess in terms of whether RFK makes it?
Well, I think he's gotten another hearing today.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to see how he does today. Like I said, they say that Cory Booker is going to vote for him, but can you see Cory Booker saving him? I can't. He's not he's not the John McCain of politics, or Joe Manchin. He just doesn't have that. He never does that. So will he counter? Like if you lose McConnell, Murkowski, and Collins, and you lose
anybody
Cassidy,
else,
it's over
right.
if you don't
Right.
get Democratic support.
All right. So what about
that? Just it. Like Tillis was the one who got Hegseth over the finish line.
What about Tulsi Gabbard?
They people really have problem. Evidently, she told me it's a different story. Don't believe it, but they say her one-on-one meetings have not been impressive. So that's the whole thing. She has a situation where she's sympathetic to Edward Snowden. I'm not. I know there's people on the right that are. I'm not. She was
right, but
was against the Soleimani hit.
Yeah, no, and I get it. Right, you guys can have policy differences, and so can senators, and they can have policy differences. But are we really going to reject a cabinet nominee because of differences about policy? Can you really say, given her pedigree and her background in both the military and in Washington and the media, that she's not qualified for the job? Shouldn't these Republicans or Democrats, but let's start with the Republicans, shouldn't these Republicans that have policy differences with her be willing to defer to the president?
Yes, and I just want to hear her say it. It's going to be the president's policies. And they're going to say, you're different from, that's what they said with RFK yesterday, especially about abortion. And they kept saying you sold your soul to get this job, which is such BS. Did William Cohen sell his soul to be, as a Republican senator, to be the Secretary of Defense for Bill Clinton? The Transportation Secretary Mineta sell his soul to work for Democrats and Republicans in back-to-back administrations. So I don't have a problem with that. What I'm saying, Frank, is she has to understand that the policy is being set by the president, and if she's reluctant to do it, I think that's something people keep in mind. If she says, "Look, that's my view as a colonel in the National Guard and a congressman from Hawaii," but I looked at this job and I wanted this job because I know the president and his views, and I'm willing to back him. That's what people just want to hear. But it's worth bringing up where they're different.
Sure. Obviously, the big buzz this week was about the pause in payments to the federal agencies. Now the president has rescinded that guidance. There's a lot of attention being paid as well to the offer of a buyout to a lot of these federal employees. I'm curious how you think this plays both politically and governmentally.
Well, look, I think it reminded me of 2017. Good idea, bad execution for Trump. Bad communication. Does it have a lot to do with the fact that you had something coming from OMB and you don't have an OMB director there whose views this might have been? Could they have waited? Yeah, maybe. The Doge's role of saying if we're going to cut government, why are we writing these automatic checks? Let's evaluate everything before we send the money out. So it almost reminds me of if you have individuals who have debt relief and you go sign up for one of these organizations that does your debt relief, they'll stop payments. They'll write letters and say, we're not making a payment for a month. We're evaluating the revenue coming in and who's going to get paid. So you can't do that with national programs. If they had if they had said Medicaid, Social Security, and anyone receiving direct payments will not be affected, everybody else, we're going to freeze this for and tell me how long, because there's going to be intense evaluation. But I would wait for Russ' vote to get confirmed first so he can lead it. Trump's got enough on his plate. These get the cabinet secretaries there. Could we have waited a week? And I think, look, out of everything they've done, this is one thing they took back. They took it back. A judge froze it, and they took it back. To me, if I'm Trump, but he doesn't do this, hey guys, I made a mistake. I should have waited for my guys to get in place first. We're gonna put this on hold for a few weeks and communicate better. My people should have communicated this better. The executive order should have been clearer. But at the same time, we are also going to do federal dollars for school choice, and we're going to go aggressively go out and combat anti-Semitism in America, and then run down your list of everything you actually did yesterday. So, it was a little chaotic, but Frank, it's different this time. They by the time they're upset about that. Okay, good, Democrats and anti-Trumpers, and there's not as many as there used to be. Okay, what else you said? I'm upset that you took illegals in Chicago, some of which you believe aren't criminals. Okay, you're fine about. Okay, and what about what you're doing on school choice? So there's such a blizzard of activity. Democrats cannot get their moorings, and they have no legitimate leader, which is understandable after losing an election the way they got crushed like this. They have no legitimate leader to step up. Chuck Schumer is way over his head. I mean, my goodness, Frank, can you imagine him on a radio show?
No.
This guy can't do anything. He can't do anything without reading it.
Brian, I have a hard break. Give me a prediction. Eagles, Chiefs.
I'm hoping for the Eagles, but I think it's going to be the Chiefs. And we'll talk about with Boomer Esiason on One Nation on Saturday. So I'll talk a little sports this weekend.
Well, I'm going to be watching. Catch him on Fox and Friends, on his own radio program, and on One Nation. Thank you, Brian Kilmeade.